All right, Jesse on Fire, welcome back to the channel. So let's get straight into it. We're going to talk about the comments that Joe Rogan made about Amanda Nunes. He said that she had an inexcusable performance. He said that basically she looked like someone who was fighting in a regional show. And for someone who's the multi-belt GOAT to be that tired in the second round and just be standing in front of her like that is inexcusable. I would add on that she was doing that in the middle of the first round. Like it wasn't even the second round when she was doing that. And so we're going to talk about those comments. I'll weigh in on my thoughts there, and we'll go from there. And then also talk a little bit about Chito Vera, because that was said in the episode that Chito was on, which was amazing. Like you guys seriously should watch. Look, like I've always heard that like from people, they're like, everybody loves Chito Vera. And if you watch like some of the like behind the scenes things, and like I saw Michael Chiesa and him interact. Chiesa like ran up. You could tell when someone like really likes someone. And Chiesa loves Chito. Dr. Bo Hightower told me that he loves Chito. Like everybody who knows him loves him. He was on my flight almost 2 weeks ago. He looks like a really like good energy dude. Anyway, so I would highly recommend checking out that video. Now, if you like the content, subscribe and ring the bell. If you're not subscribed to my channel and you watch it a lot, can you just subscribe? I know the only thing, like I get it, like some people just don't subscribe to channels, they just watch, but it helps me out in terms of my optics if you subscribe. That's all I'm asking. I'm not asking for money. Just if you watch my channel consistently, just hit subscribe. You don't even need to ring the bell. It's optically helpful for me. Also, go follow me on Instagram. I do a lot of Instagram, man. Like I get like, I can tell from my analytics, I get way more views on here, like from people who watch every single one of my videos. So probably 3 times as many people watch every one of my videos than I have followers on Instagram. So it makes no sense. So give it a run if you are interested. I do a lot more, like, you get to see what I'm actually doing in my regular life on Instagram. So anyway, so let's talk about Amanda. So basically, if you break down what Joe said, he basically is just saying that for a person of her caliber to perform like that is almost like an insult to the sport. And I actually agree with that. And I think that, it's not that it's an insult to the sport. It's that very clearly she did not train. I mean, like, just plain and simple. At least not like she would if she was fighting someone that she respected. And here's the thing. Almost all the great fighters have a moment where they took their opponent lightly and they lost, okay? Like seriously, John Jones, John Jones too. All the great ones have that moment, okay? George St. Pierre, this is not a hard one. GSP, a very notable night for me. The very first night that I met Gabrielle's mom. Hi, I'm Jesse, single mom. Hi, I'm Jesse. Here's $60. I'm gonna go ahead and order cage fights on your pay-per-view because this is just a non-negotiable part of my life. Literally, it's a true story. And then Matt Serra knocked him out, And then what happened in the rematch? It wasn't even close, right? John Jones. I know the people are like, never happened with John Jones. How about the Gustafsson fight? How about the first Gustafsson fight, right? He ended up winning, but that was right when he was at his peak. Same exact thing happens every time. They get in a streak of running through everyone, right? Just running through them to where it's not even challenging to them. They fight the best people in the division and they eat them alive. Then they end up fighting someone where they've cleared out the entire division. There's only like one person left, or it's kind of a weird, freaky thing like Matt Serra winning Ultimate Fighter. It's like the Rocky story, and George St. Pierre is like, okay, you want me to fight Matt Serra? It's literally like, that one in particular was equivalent to like if I don't even know who would be the right person to use as an example. Like it's like if Kamaru Usman, literally, this is exactly what it's like. If Kamaru Usman, okay, like participated in some kind of Ultimate Fighter thing, and like someone who won the comeback season of Ultimate Fighter, it was like Matt Brown, okay? And I'm not using Matt Brown as a negative. I'm just saying like Matt Brown is not going to fight for the title at 170 at this point of his career. It's not possible. It's just not possible. And then imagine that Matt Brown in that fight knocked out Kamaru Usman. Imagine that, dude. It would just be like, what? Although it's even crazier than that because Matt Brown at least has knockout power. Like Matt Serra hadn't really knocked anybody out at that point. It's unfathomable, right? And then John Jones almost lost to Gustafsson. Anderson Silva, Chris Weidman, the first Chris Weidman's fight, right? Like people are like, oh, I picked Chris Weidman. Oh yeah, you picked Anderson Silva to showboat so disrespectfully that he got caught. Okay, do you guys honestly think that Chris Weidman could have beat Anderson Silva if he took him super serious and did no showboating? I mean, I know he always showboated, but like, come on, dude. He took him light and he lost, right? That just, then he folded his leg in half on the next one, and that ended up kind of being the genesis of the, kind of this direction of his career. And Amanda Nunes is one of those fighters that has had a career like those people, right? That she's just run through everyone. And then all of a sudden it's like, here's Juliana Pena. And it's like, I mean, listen, I will just say this outright. Juliana Pena broke Amanda in that fight. She broke her. There's no other way to, there's no two ways about it. Like, we talk about this on the channel a lot, dude. Where I'm like, you've seen him lose, you've never seen him break, right? You've seen him lose, you've never seen him break. And like, perfect example, Dustin Poirier, like we were talking about the other night, where people were like, oh, Dustin Poirier, he quit. He didn't quit, he got choked. That's not the same thing. That's not getting broken. Like that is, you are in an inescapable position, you're going to lose. And you're like, hey doc, I've got a week to live and I'm in agonizing pain. Just go ahead and just suicide me. I'm 98 years old. It's like, there's no solving this problem. Like, so you can just, I don't know, go to sleep or not. Like he did a doctor assisted suicide. That's not breaking. Okay. Breaking is when a person for real quits, like quits because they got broken. Amanda got broken. Now, is that the best Amanda? It's the worst Amanda that we've seen like ever, at least since she's been, on the big stage. And you got to give a ton of credit to Juliana Pena, but imagine the buildup to this fight, man. Like seriously, like imagine the buildup to this fight. If you're Amanda Nunes, like go back, just go watch a couple of Amanda Nunes' fights and then watch film on Juliana Pena. I mean, that's why I was so confident that there was no chance that Pena could win. It's because I would watch, like specifically her striking. Like I would look at her strike, like how she strikes. The only way that she's going to land punches on Amanda is if Amanda stands directly in front of her and does not move. If Amanda uses any of the normal footwork that she does, chops the legs down, etc., dude, there's just, it just is what it is. There are certain things that are just inescapable on film. Like just watch the film. Juliana Pena should not have the skill set to be able to stand with Amanda in any capacity. Like she did well on the feet because Amanda stood right in front of her and just lazily was throwing bombs trying to knock her out with one punch, especially after she got a little bit tired, And it's because she didn't train hard. And we know this because Juliana Pena said she has moles in the camp and they said that Amanda wasn't training hard. Look, here's the real thing, right? So the real reason that I thought about this a bunch. I know I did a video about this right after the event. And I didn't really talk about this particular part, but this is the real reason why Amanda looked the way that she did, okay? Amanda had a baby, dude, okay? Now this is real talk here, okay? There are a few factors that come into play in single athlete sports, okay? Tennis, golf, fighting, swimming, things like that, where it's just one person and how they perform is going to dictate the outcome of their athletic endeavor, right? And their work ethic is always directly tied to the outcome, always, okay? And so a person who's just kind of like, oh, how have they done historically? If that's your level of analysis, you are missing the boat, because what you really need to be looking at is what's going on in their personal life. Because if there are any big changes in a person's personal life who's a single athlete sport participant, then that matters in a big way. And there are a couple things that are the number one and number two thing that can affect a person's performance, and it's because it affects how they train and how they focus. Number one, new romantic relationship. Dude, someone gets in a new, very serious romantic relationship, they will not ever be the best version of themselves, at least ever since I've ever seen it. And I've tracked this for years, because that's my theory. It's like, I don't think you have room in you, like you don't have room in you, right? You do not have room in your collective focus for that level of like romantic engagement, like at the beginning of a relationship where you're so in love with them. It's like chemical and biological. When you first fall in love with someone that you're gonna like be with for a long time, it's overwhelming. Like it's like you want to see them all the time. If you've never felt that way, okay, like if you're like with someone you never felt like that about, then maybe you married one of your friends. But like in a really heavy new romance, it is overwhelming, right? And so like for that, in that environment, how does that sound in terms of being conducive to being super hyper focused on your training and getting better at martial arts? It's fucking poison. It's poison, dude. It's fucking poison. And the other is having a kid, okay? New baby, right? Now, it's not quite as bad if you're a dude, right? If you're a dude and your wife and you have like kind of a more traditional marriage and relationship where like the girl is going to, handle the vast majority of childcare. I mean, like, dude, I have 3 daughters. Everybody knows that. If we seriously, like if there was some way to like map the last 9 years and it was like, okay, so what % of the time was Gabrielle parenting versus daddy, right? Especially around the house. Like Giselle's jiu-jitsu career, which is extensive now, is all me, 100% me. Outside of that one metric, like, and we're talking about like who's really focused on, I mean, it's gotta be 85 to 90% Gabrielle, And so maybe for some people, it's not that way. But if you have a relationship where you guys are kind of like, oh, we got to make sure that we're dividing this evenly. Dude, having a kid is like, it's any of you guys who have kids, you guys know what's it like to have a baby, dude. It's like, it's the most all-encompassing thing ever. You're like, man, I remember when I used to just be able to go do things. Now we got literally like, there's nothing I can't do shit. Like I can't do shit. Dude, when I first had a kid, the first kid that I had, Giselle, when she was like a baby, which was 2012, I think, 2012? Is that right? Yeah, 2012. I have never been so depressed in my entire life. That is, I mean, outside of like, that one incident we talked about where like my entire world fucking got, stolen. But outside of that, like just regular life, I mean, I got paralyzed by depression in a way that I literally could not describe to you if I tried. Although I will try, just because it's relevant to this particular story. Like I remember like walking around and carrying her like in this thing. And it was like, she was like maybe 5 or 6 days old. And Gabrielle had this test she had to take. And so I had the kid by myself all day. And I remember just being like, I'm responsible for this and there's nothing I can do. Like I'm carrying this thing. Like I was a free bird. Like I was like a do whatever I want guy. The reason that me and Gabrielle's relationship has always worked so well is because she doesn't break my balls about basically anything. Like, like we don't have a relationship where she's like putting walls around me. Like, you can't do this, can't do that. And this just felt like it felt like I was carrying around something that weighed 5,000 pounds and there was nothing I could do to get rid of it. I mean, it was crushing, dude. Like this is the only way I can even describe it. It felt like I couldn't walk. Like I couldn't even walk straight. I couldn't think straight. When I was sitting at home, it was all I could think about. I was like, I can't reverse this. Like I can't do any of the things I want to do ever again. And then, so for any new parents or for people who are going to have kids, if you experience that, let me tell you how this ends up playing out. The first time that kid looks at you and knows you're their dad, like so, because they're just little worm aliens for a while, right? Then there'll become a point where they'll cry. Someone hands, her to you, and she looks at you and she goes, oh, okay, I'm with daddy now, and she'll relax, and you recognize she knows who you are, and she knows you're her dad. Then it's different forever after that. Then it was like, yeah, that changes things in a serious way. Like, having kids is the best thing ever. It's legitimately the best thing ever. But fuck, man, I can't even imagine trying to train under those circumstances with a new baby. Even if you liked it, like you just don't understand how much shit there is with fucking having kids, man. So, she had the kid and then she had another fight. And I was like, dude, she's got a baby. Let's see how she does. And it was her previous fight and she looked amazing against Megan Anderson. She crushed her. And I was like, oh, okay, I guess it's not interfering with her life. Like, I guess it's not interfering with her life like it did mine. But then just give it another, how many, 5 months, 6 months, because if it started to fall off then when she first had the kid, she's still sharp as a tack when she fights Megan Anderson. But now the further you go, you're getting further away from the version of yourself that was training constantly, hungry, fucking steel-eyed. You also have so much money, dude. She's got so much money. Does she strike you as a person who just pisses money away? Like, you understand, like, if she's making, $4 million, $5-6 million every time she fights, like, she's got a lot of fights. And if you don't piss that money away, you're set for life. Like, you don't ever have to worry about money again. I guarantee that's exactly where she's at. So picture that against Pena, who's starving, who's the most hungry version of a person can be. Everyone's counting her out. She believes. And so you're gonna get the absolute best version of her. Now, if Amanda comes back at fucking 75% capacity, Juliana's gonna be in fucking serious trouble. I mean, because Amanda stood right in front of her. I mean, just like beyond comprehension. When I watched it again, I was like, this is fucking crazy. She took her that lightly that she thought she could literally just stand in front of her and have no defense, no footwork, no nothing. And then by the time she realized she's in a dogfight, she's tired. And now she's tired. And so it's like, footwork. Dude, I don't want to move. I'm fucking tired. Like, I can't move now, Now that I know I should move, I can't. I'm flat-footed and I can't move. Anyway, that's what I got. So subscribe to the channel, ring the bell.